Here we are, right back again like I left some. Today, we want to be reviewing the 2-pack Super Sons. Damian Wayne, aka Robin, Connor Kent, aka Superboy. Great 2-pack to pick up. If you haven't picked them up, I would suggest. I know I'm probably about a couple of months late, but better late than never is what I always say. If you're a collector, you're not going to stop collecting and, you know, getting what you actually want. These figures are going to be there. It's just a matter of time before you find them. But front of the package looks like this. It is number 26 in your DC Icons line. Back of the package, Wave looks like this. You got Nightwing, Supergirl. 2-pack we're going over today. Clear package from the side, says Super Sons right here on the side, and we got the window at the bottom. Nothing much to it. Warning, so on and so forth. Recommended children ages to play with, not 3 and under, because of the small pieces in there. So anyone 3 and under not recommended to handle this type of 2-pack here. But this is getting a nice run in the comic books. It's from that Rebirth, that Superman and Superman vs. Robin Rebirth. So to me, best Damian Wayne that we've gotten, period, hands down, point blank. But hey, you be the judge. Let's get this thing on the way. And away we... All right, here we go, fresh and straight out the packaging. We got none other than Robin on the right, Superboy on the left. Let's get right down to it and get right down to business. Let's go over, first things first, first impressions of the sculpt work and paint work. Alright, so looking real good, real close into it. I would say they nailed this face sculpt to the T. Definitely nailed it. That's definitely Damian Wayne right there. Damian. Yeah. Nice paint work on the R. Got a little bit of overspray coming into that yellow there. As far as on that cape, but pretty decent. Utility belts looking nice. Also got a little paint fault there. Right there on his side. It's coming from rubbing or something in that packaging. I like the glossiness that they have on these gauntlets of Damian Wayne. Is looking pretty nice there. Also coming down, looks like we got some impression marks of him being in the packaging on his leg, but same thing with the other side. Then we got little speckles of black paint on the back of his, the inside of his cape. Knee pads looking good. It's like they move with the knee and stay in place, which is nice. Love the red boot laces. Very nice as well. Looking good. And of course you got your writings of where it was made, so on and so forth. DC Comics on the other leg. Very pliable material here as far as his shirt comes down underneath the cape. Looks like we got a little paint rub there as well. That's coming from bending him back and rubbing on that utility belt right there. That's where that defect is coming in at. Loud and clear, that little rub. So, but overall, that sculpt is looking good. Bottom of the boots does have one peg hole right there, which is nice. So yeah, I can get down with it. I mean, it's not too bad. Still stick to my guns as far as right now. That might change, but as far as into this review, we are a couple of seconds into it. And he still's holding up to be one of the best Damian Damons that I've seen. Let's take a look at old Connor here. So Connor Kent, his sculpt is looking also, face sculpt is looking also pretty decent. I got a little hair there. Yeah. Looks nice. Like the way they did the hair. Looks like they tried to give him a little shimmer in the eye right there. You know, by adding a little white speck. Give him a little shimmer, you know. The Superman family, you know, that family there is, you know, it's a bunch of goody two shoes, but you know that's the character. But looking at this paint work here, it's looking pretty decent. Not too bad, not too bad. Again, paint rub when you flex him forward with the ab crunch, you do get a little bit of that paint rub right there. Also, we're seeing a little paint here blemish and also there. I like the way they did the jean. They did this right leg of his is supposed to be a hole right here in the knees. So they came through and delivered with painting that ripped up hole right there. Got his feet heat looking nice. Look like it might have some All-Stars on, some Chuck Taylors. Ain't bad. Red with the white soles, looking kind of decent, looking kind of nice, fresh. You know what I'm saying? Got the hole right there on the jeans, nice. Got the back pockets in the jeans as well. Also, you got the stamp on his left leg. Yeah, it's looking pretty decent up under the cape. Not too many paint blemishes there neither, except, you know, your usual, where you usually get paint rub, and that's right there on the back of the cape, but still pretty good. Inside of the cape looks decent. You got the S right there. It's not a raised S, it's just, you know, painted on. So it's looking good right here on the side. Looks like we might see a little blemish there, right there on the shoulder, but all in all, it's not bad at all. It's not a bad going for old Jonathan. Not bad at all. So what we'll do next is we'll go over the accessories of both of these and see how that fares out. All right, so Superboy comes in package with 2 fisted hands. He also is coming with 2 open palm hands, 2 cup holding hands or gripping hands, and also 2 smaller gripping hands. So these hands look like they should be able to hold, let's say, a staff or something or other that causes a tighter grip than the last gripping hands. Now Damian here comes in package with his 2 closed fist hands already on, his karate chopping hands as well, his grabbing or choking hands, and his bow gripping hands for him to hold on to his bow / staff. That's what these hands are for. Another closer grip type gripping hands. And this is the cool hands right here. These are the ones that are most and very unique. He comes with on his right, our left, 4 batarangs in that hand, and then on our right, his left, comes with 3 batarangs in between those fingers. So those can be used very well, and these are not removable. They're actually sculpted within the hand. So when you switch the hand out, you are switching essentially the hand attached to the batarangs. So also included in the accessory pack is the bow for Damian, and also the round flight stand for Superboy. Those come also within the pack and are a great addition within the pack. Now, if you're going to display your Superboy or your Damian, these will definitely, that flight stand that Superboy comes with would definitely help, because he is such a smaller figure in stature, and it'll help elevate him and lift him off the ground. Now, to go over the overall articulation for both of these two figures. One, Damian does have head tilt. You can tilt side to side there a good amount. Now, looking back, he does not look back that good at all, if not at all. He looks down about that much. His head can rotate 360. Now, the shoulders here, he does have a swivel, upper bicep swivel. His arms can go about almost 90. But this cape right here does hinder. If you try to peel this cape up a little bit, you can see where it's glued at. So I wouldn't try to peel too hard, because what you're going to end up doing is peeling the glue away from that cape. So where his shoulder is, where you can get it, yeah, that's looking about 90. Yeah. So don't be too overzealous in trying to get his shoulder above 90. Just kind of deal with that 90 degrees right there as best as you can. Now, he does come and have double jointed elbows, which is nice. You can rotate at the wrist right there, and you do also have a wrist hinge. Now, as far as crunch goes, he can crunch this far forward with the diaphragm. This is in conjunction with the diaphragm. Now he goes this far forward. Now, in conjunction with the crunch and the diaphragm, he does go back quite a bit. So that is quite a bit of ways that he goes back, and that's pretty decent. Now, as far as for the diaphragm joint, he can turn from side to side this much to the right, this much to the left. You can go a little bit further, but I don't want to risk it. So now for the legs right here, he can kick up this far, and again, his shirt is a hindrance from him kicking any further, but he could, if you twist it and rotate it a little bit, you can get that leg up just a little bit further. He can kick this much back. Oh, see, that's what happens when you go too far back. You get overzealous. No, not to worry, it's not broke. These figs do have, just like some of the other newer DC Icons figs, they do have that drop down function. As you can see up in the inside there, you can get that up and down, which causes for greater posability when you're trying to get poses as such as kicks. But like you just seen, if you go too far, it will pop out, but all you got to do is simply pop that bad boy back in place, and you back rocking and rolling again. So he can get back and out this far. You see, that's why I call it backing out, because it's not exactly straight back. Straight back looks like this, so he's getting that much far straight back. And for the knees, he does have double jointed knees, and the knee pad does stay in the knee pad spot right there on his knee, which is very nice. He does have a hinge that goes back and up. Now be careful in bending forward and back, because these figures are very small. So that means the peg that binds them, or the hinge that binds their feet, is also very small. with a lot of force and trying to force it, you could break it. So move it ever so gently and slightly when you're trying to hinge these feet. Also, he does have a nice rocker there. You can rock back and forth. So articulation wise for Damian is it's very good. I definitely like, or should I rather say love, that how they did this this Damian. Now, what I would do to improve this figure, I would definitely have this cape. I understand that you got to keep the look organic to the look of how he is in the comics, but we should be able to get that shoulder up just a little bit further. But when you try, like I was pointing out, you will rip that that glue that's binding his cape to his the top of his chest there. So we'll take a look at Connor next. Take a look at his articulation. Pretty much similar to Damian's. So his shoulder can go up, and he doesn't have a cape to drape down, and his shoulder just does go 90. Also, he does have a bicep swivel as well, double jointed, does have that hinge, and does have that swivel there. So also his diaphragm joint, you can get him to turn to the right that far, turn to the left that far. He does crunch this far without, that's without the diaphragm. With the diaphragm, not that much further. So it's just this. And again, they did make sure he can do an overall crunch back, which is pretty good, and I understand why. So if you want to get this one into flying poses, you need that crunch back arch type. But what I do not like is for him to be a flying fig, his head does not tilt up. And that goes with a lot of the DC icons. That this head does not look up further enough. He can't look down that much. His head can swivel because it's on a ball, so that 360 is definitely in there. His leg can kick up this much. You can kick it up even further if you go up and out, so it'll look like this much. And also going back, he can kick back that much. But back and out, of course, it's going to go a little bit further, or a lot of bit further, made up word, this much. Also, you do have your double jointed knee. Same thing with the feet. Be careful in moving that. You can get him in a toe point because he can tilt up, down and up, and he also does have the rocker where you can move that foot and you can rock that ankle side to side. Does not have a boot cut. I mean a boot cut or a thigh cut. Same thing with Damian. He did not also have a boot cut or a thigh cut. But that is the articulation for both of these figures, Connor and also Damian. If I was to rate these figures from 1 to 10, I would probably rate Damian at a 9.5. And I will rate Connor at a 7.5, maybe an 8. And the reason why, this drop down function is super loose on him. Damian's is not that loose, probably because of the utility belt plus the shirt that goes down past. But this drop down function, it's making his legs super weak, right? Very, very weak indeed. And that there is something that I wish they DC Icons would just skip out on altogether. If by adding in these drop down functions you're going to cause their upper joint up here to be this loose, I say skip it altogether, because it's not worth it. It's compromising the posability of the figure when you're trying to put the figure in different and various positions. As soon as you put that leg out a little bit, it's going to be weak. So that's a note to DC Essentials. Hopefully they noticed that, not just on my review, but other reviewers that reviewed these figures before I did, and hopefully they know how to fix that problem that DC Icons was having. So DC Essentials, you're up next. This is the last DC Icons, actually the very last figures that DC Icons produced was the Superman and Doomsday, but that line is over with. We are now in 2018, and I am definitely looking forward to the DC Essentials to be taking over that mantle that DC Icons left off. Hopefully we can get a lot better articulations. I can't really get too bad on articulations except for the neck. The neck could go up a lot further. The drop down function as far as with the hips, need to fix that because that's causing loose hips. But other than that, DC Icons, they had a nice run and they did a nice go at these DC figures. Now we're going to get into size comparisons. All right, right off the back, compared to each other, you can tell noticeably that Connor Kent is taller than Damian Wayne. So Damian is standing right at 4.5 inches, and Connor is standing just barely under 5 inches. So these two together, Connor is about a 1/2 inch taller than Damian. And here's how they look with their respected dads. On the right, Batman; on the left, Superman. Behind Connor and behind Damian is his father, Batman. Now here they are compared to, on the far right, the other Damian Wayne from Multiverse, made by Mattel. Also made by Mattel. On the far left is Duke, the other Robin from DC Multiverse. All right, now here we go. On the far right, we have Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, standing next to Damian. And here we are on the far left, we have Lex Luthor, both figures made also by DC Icons. All right, now here they are standing next to, on the far right, by DC Icons. That is your Joker on the right next to Damian, and then on the far left from SH Figure Arts, that is your Dark Knight Joker, Heath Ledger edition. All right, and then finishing up with the DC Icons figs, we have in the back of Damian Wayne, we have Nightwing, better known as Dick Grayson. Also on the left, far back, right behind Superboy, we have Cyborg, aka Victor Stone. All right, good folks, we're going to finish it up with two figs from Marvel, just so people out there can get a better eye on how these two figs scale up. So on the right we have from Marvel Legends, Miles Morales, coming from that Space Venom wave. Also on the far left we have Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, also coming out of that Space Venom Build-A-Figure wave. So there you have it, folks. Sized up, scaled up, articulation, sculpt, and accessories. This is your Super Sons pack by DC Icons. Hope you all enjoyed. And remember, like I always say, be patient with yourself, be patient with your hunts, and if you're patient enough, even an egg can and will grow legs. I'll see you next time on my next hunt, and I'll show you where I got this Super Sons pack. So be sure to do what you need to do, press the buttons you need to press to get back at me next week, where I'll take you on a special hunt. It'll be my first hunt of the year, my first pickups of the year 2018. See y'all next time. Plastic Addict.